Hi everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and today let's try to space dye some sock yarn using a Tulip one-step dye kit. Now, space dye, kettle dye, low immersion dyeing, we're going to try to dye this in a pot with heat. So today we are going to dye 100 grams of Knit Picks Stroll fingering weight yarn. This is 75% Superwash merino, 25% nylon. And not only that, but this is a yarn that I know can take up this tie-dye really well. Now in here, this was a steam basket that started with 8 cups of water. There's no vinegar in here. It's still a tiny bit warm, but obviously I can comfortably place my hands in it. The yarn has not been pre-soaked, not at all. But we're going to heat this up and then get ready to add our dyes. Alright, I'm starting to hear a little bit of bubbling in there, so we are going to give this a go. Now, the reason that I think this might work is because we have just done an experiment where we found out that if you apply heat to the wool-based yarns, it can really make a difference in the, I guess, the speed with which the tulip dyes apply, sort of absorb to the fiber. Now, I'm not sure how much penetration of the dye there will be here. I guess I'm sort of adding it a little slowly. These are some tulip dyes that I mixed up. They're as concentrated as the instructions indicate. And, you know, I mixed them today, but I started with sort of this little pattern here because I'm curious how much the colors will spread out. So I think that we should come back in 10 minutes and see, I guess, what we see. See if they spread out, see if they're striking in place. I'm going to have the heat on low. I mean, it already looks like with the pink and purple that the colors are spreading a bit. But yeah, I'm curious to see what we'll find out. 10 minutes have passed. And the colors have spread out quite a bit. With the pink, the purple, and the blue, you can see where I initially added the dye. Actually, on the blue, you can see where the pink lines, so you get a sense of some of the breaking from the blue. The teal seems to be a tiny bit more consistent. I am so tempted to try to move this to view the colors a little closer, but I don't really want to touch it because I think what's happening is gorgeous. So I'm going to go ahead and let this stay on low heat for another 20 minutes and then we'll come back and turn off the heat. The 20 minutes have passed, so I am turning off the heat, removing the lid, and the purples have spread out a lot. There's still some of the pink that reads very pink. I still see some distinct blue. The teal is a little, well, it's not muddy because it's still beautiful, but it's been a little blurpled a bit, I think. I could remove this at this stage so it could cool and then I could rinse it, but I think I'm going to let it cool in the pot a bit. I am curious how much of the dye will continue to spread and how much of it will wash out. Maybe some of this dye has reacted with the water and therefore is not going to bind to the yarn and is making the colors look a little more purple overall. We won't know until we wash it. So it seems as though the colors have stopped spreading out. But let's remove this yarn and see what the remaining water looks like. Oh wow. So look at that. We definitely have some color in this yarn, but let's go wash it and see how much sticks around. Water is still, the yarn is still a little warm. I can comfortably touch it, but we definitely got color penetration all the way through. I think I want to start off rinsing with a warmer water just because the yarn is still a bit warm. So now I just touched it and my hands are clean. The water is a little bit warm, so let's start rinsing off our yarn. For a second I was like, wow, I don't see any bleeding, but here we go. considered though. This is a lot less bleeding than what we usually see when we start rinsing off something that we tie-dye. But I also did not use very much tie-dye in here at all. I mean, it makes sense that this kind of thing would work well. You can use fiber reactive dyes to dye wool yarns, but man, using that heat, that's almost no bleeding at all left. This is awesome! Man, I'm totally gonna steam or kettle dye tie-dyed things in the future. I'm now adding just some dish soap to help dislodge, you know, these excess dyes. But man, this is actually a lot faster than everything else. And I bet a lot of the residual dye in that pot probably reacted with the water or something and is incapable of binding to the fiber. Because you saw all that was in there. But, whew, this is beautiful. And I think that this is the fastest I have ever washed a tie-dye project. So anyway, I'm going to give this 1 or 2 more rinses and then we're going to hang it up to dry. Here is the finished dried yarn. And wow! These colors spread out a lot further than I would have expected from just adding those little sort of triangle shapes of color. You can still see sort of in the pink where some of the colors sort of struck really quickly, but there's also a lot of mixing and the colors spread out a lot as well. This is the first time that I've tried kettle dyeing with these Tulip tie-dye dyes, these one-step dyes that are really intended for cotton. But on the sock yarn, we got these really great, rich, medium tones of color that I am just really, really excited about. Not all of the color absorbed to the yarn, and I think that with these fiber reactive dyes, especially these one-step kits, there will probably always be some amount of dye waste. However, I am really excited that I was able to use one of the techniques that I love and to do this on the stovetop to get us these really beautiful colors in a sock yarn. It can be a lot of fun when colors strike quickly to yarn, but it is also just as fun when the colors spread out a lot more. And I'm really excited that we got excellent coverage throughout this skein, but we also still see some of these distinct blue, teal, pink, and purple hues in the finished yarn. I am really excited to play around with some of these techniques on cotton yarn because all of a sudden when we're playing with these Tulip dyes, we're not limited to just hand painting, and we can really play around with some of these other techniques that we love to do with acid dyes. And so it's another world and another line of dyes to explore, and I cannot wait to play with them more. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and thank you so much for watching this dyeing video. If you liked what you saw, please give the video a like and subscribe to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel. If you are already a fan of ChemKnits and would like to support us on a more personal level, check out the ChemKnits Patreon. You can find a link in the video description. And if you would like to interact with some more ChemKnits fans who are embarking on their own dyeing adventures, check out the ChemKnits Lab Facebook group. It is a fan group for all fans of ChemKnits, and all sort of fiber-related crafts are welcome. And you can find a lot of people sharing their own experiments and projects, not just me. So I hope you check it out. Thanks for watching.